Welcome back to Bunters Yard. Now I get asked quite often the airbrush that I use, which is this one, which is the the Iwata Neo. So this is made, I think they're made under license in China for a company called Iwata, which is if you're not into airbrushes, it's quite a one of the larger brands, I guess. This is particularly expensive in the grand scheme of things. The £90. I bought it through an art shop last year, and they're online for sort of 85 or so. And I'll put a link down below for this because I do recommend these. And £90 isn't a lot for an airbrush. You know, you can pay literally thousands of pounds for you know, other airbrushes. But for what we do for railway modelling, personally, this is sort of more than adequate. I may upgrade that. There's another feature that I quite like the look of for, you know, my next upgrade when I do, but I'll always have one of these. I think this will just you know, these are really good workhorses. So that's the one I have now. But what we're looking at today is a comparison between this one and the absolute cheapest one that I could find on Amazon. I'm not trying to say that the one on Amazon isn't going to be any good, because it might be. Some people have said it is. Some people have used it and they're not too impressed. Now I don't know, totally open mind. I'm just going to give it a go. We'll do it live on camera so you can see what we're up to. And at the end, I'm going to do a comparison where I've got two of these Hornby mineral wagons, and I'll wear the one with this brush and one with the other one, assuming it works at all. Then and then we'll put them side by side and have a look, and we'll see if it's worth the money for the brush. But let's have a look anyway. So this is the kit. This costs £16 and 4p. You can probably find them cheaper, because I sent a link to someone about half an hour afterwards, and it had gone down to £15.99, but I had to wait a week for this. Now you can buy exactly the same one. Once we open it up, you'll see you can buy exactly the same one for twice as much and get it the following day. They've got slightly different names, but they're definitely the same kit. So let's have a look and see what we get for £16 and 4p. This is all completely new to me. I really don't know what this is going to be like. Quite a nice box. So let's look at the airbrush first. So there's our, move this out of the way for a sec. So this is what they call a gravity feed. So you would put your paint in the top there, and then it runs down under gravity and comes out the nozzle. And this is what they call a dual action. So the button here, it moves in two ways. It moves down and then backwards and forwards. And if you press it down, that will let the air start to flow, and then as you move it back, then it releases the paint as well, and you get a mix. And it's quite important, I think, to have a dual action, because then you can mix with the trigger the amount of air and the amount of paint and get different effects. And also it does reduce clogging. So what you do is that once you finish your paint, you stop the paint from flowing by letting the trigger go forward. That stops the paint, but the air continues to go. It blows out any remaining paint in the nozzle, so that it doesn't get as clogged as it could do. So anyway, so this is the brush. Now the cup on the top is quite a big cup, which comes off. Now you can see in there, it's a tiny hole, and the only thing that sort of, to me, is that's going to make it quite difficult if you get a blockage inside or a clog. If we look at the my Iwata, for instance, I'll take the cup off. It's quite easy to get inside there, and you can see the needle and everything. So that's my first sort of observation. on the downside for the £16 or 4p version. But anyway, put that aside. Let's have a look inside. Let's take the nozzle off of the cover. Okay. This comes with 3 different needles, I think. Different sizes, and this is probably a 4.4mm, I think. And I might go back together again, so bear with me. Here we go, it's got it, I think. There we go. Put this back together. There's the needle and protective cover. It's quite tight, but I'm sure that'll come undone anyway when I need the time. I need it to do that. Well, let's put it back together and we'll see what else is in the box, and then we'll crack on. Put it to one side. So in our box now we've got this. This is our braided hose. I mean, that's worth most of the money on its own, to be honest with you. They're not terribly inexpensive, but that seems like quite a nice spare, so I'll hang on to that one. This is the moisture trap. Now, if you watched the video last week, you'll know that a moisture trap is actually on the compressor. So we won't be using it on this gun today, but normally what you would do is you fit it in line like that, and then the hose would go in there. So that's your water trap there. But we're not going to use that today. So we'll pop that back in the box. Different adapters. And then we've got our needle 0.02, 0.05, sorry, 0.2 and a 0.5. So different size needles. Depends on how thick your paint is and the effect you're after. So that must be the 0.3, I think. That one there. So that's kind of fairly equivalent to what we've got on the water. So the water's 0.35, I think. And then the different nozzles, different jets to go on the front of the gun if you change the needle. That's quite cool, actually. Now, just to give you an idea, if you was to buy one of these for the iWater, they are about £30 each. And I've got 3 of these in here. I said 2 in there and 1 in the gun. So that probably represents, as long as they work, represents quite a good value for money. So it's a good start. So value-wise, it's cool. So I think what we need to do is put some paint in and see how we get on. Now, I haven't used this at all. This is the first time that I would have when I've done this. So there we go. So it's connected. So air flows through okay. Let's try and got water. I've set the brush to pressure to, it's about 15 to 20 psi. So certainly no problem with that. Let's get rid of the water. Well, let's try a bit of colour. And let's go with black to start with, I think. Well, I'm going to use Model Air. These are relatively thin, they're already pre-thinned, and I'm just going to use model air colours for the wagons that we're going to do a bit later on. So I don't want things like the thickness of paint to make a difference to the sort of comparison. So yeah, model air, we're going to start with that. And we're just going to try a couple of drops in there. Now because it's black inside, I think you can get these in different colours, but this is black. I'm sort of struggling to see paint inside because it's black, especially, I guess. But anyway, so let's give this a go. So press down to let the air come through, and then we pull the trigger back, and then the paint will start to flow or not. Try that again. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, I think. You can see a couple of stops, you know, it's stopped flowing. I might just try and turn the pressure up and see if it makes a difference. Bear with me. Try again. So I've turned the pressure up to 25 psi now. So a little bit inconsistent. I'm going to swap the airbrush over, put mine on just to give a comparison. And same pressure, haven't changed anything. Get a comparison. So I don't know if you can hear, but it doesn't sort of stutter like the other one does. So that's the first thing. So let's get another piece of clear paper. I'll zoom in a bit closer to this. Swap the brush over, and let's have a go. Same pressure. It's quite sharp actually, not sharp as I'm going to damage you with this piece here. It's just the way I hold it. Your finger catches on these edges. It's difficult to see with a particular colour, but it's like a bolt that's soldered on, like a square bolt. And these edges are they're a bit uncomfortable, to be fair. These are more ergonomic. You can see everything is round. There's no sort of sharp edges that there. So this one I think there's already a few marks on my finger starting to appear there. So, but it's nothing. I'll wear a plaster if I need to. So let's give this a go. Nothing wrong with that at all. Let's do some more actually. So I'm going to paint these two up. I'm going to paint them separately, one with this brush and then one with the eye water. I'm going to show the video side by side in a moment. You'll see that, and then we'll have a look at them at the end. Putting that aside for the moment, for £16, that's not terrible value. I'm a bit concerned about being able to clean it properly, because that's really tiny in there, and that is quite sharp. But you know, I'm sure we can sort that out. That's not a problem at all. So at the moment, I'd say I probably would use this for maybe some work on the track, or just maybe using just enamel through there rather than acrylics, and keep in mind for acrylics. So I probably would at the moment consider using this as a second airbrush. And if you're going to get into airbrushing for £16 or whatever you're going to pay, these are probably not a bad place to start, to be honest with you. At least you can try to see if you kind of get on with it, with the whole thing. But yeah, not bad at all. Okay, so let's crack on with these two wagons, and I'll be back soon. So here's the two finished. I've just done the one side, and I'll put some better shots up on the screen. So this is one done with the Amazon bargain brush. So it's okay. There's probably the lines and the gradients are not as sort of soft as the Iwata, I think. So you can see sort of a bit of splattering if you look up closely. If you look at compare it to the Iwata, and I'll put a big picture up on the screen now, you can see that the runs of the black are much finer, so it's a lot more control. And the bottom where the grime is, the coverage is just a bit sort of smoother. There's a lot more control as well between the two brushes. For what you get for £16, I'm sure you appreciate it. You know, it is what it is. It's a bit more hit and miss. It's not as sort of refined as the more expensive airbrush. So let's just sort of sum up. Now, for the money you pay for these, they do the job. You get your money's worth, without a doubt. I'm sure if I spend a little more time setting this up, maybe adjusting the flow and the pressure, and maybe trying different needles and different paint mixes and so on, I'll get a much more consistent finish with this, and a finer spray. But there's a few things that I'm not too keen on. One is that out of the box, the actual trigger is a bit more hit and miss. So the flow is there is a point where nothing comes out, and then suddenly it does. So I need to look at that. The cup, although it comes off, the hole there is really tiny. You can't get inside the little chamber there to clean this thoroughly. So it would just take lots and lots of flushing through, rather than the other technique that I use, where I sort of suck the water back out. But you can't get in there to do that. It's just too small. So if you don't clean it thoroughly, when you come back to using it, you may have a blockage, and then that's going to be a bit of a nightmare to clean. And the other thing is this screw on here, this nut, where it's just a square nut, and it's got these sharp edges, and that's really uncomfortable. But I'm sure we can get around that. We could maybe fold that back, or put a plaster on my finger or something. Apart from that, for the money, it is what it is. If it's your first sort of foray into airbrushing, it might be worth considering, but you're going to be buying a compressor that's 70 or 80 pounds. I think maybe to spend your 16, 20, 30 pounds on a brush like this, it might be worth just putting the extra bit towards it, because you're already committed with a compressor at 70 or 80 pounds. You may as well match it with an airbrush like this, which is 85, 95 pounds. So, but this won't cause any frustrations. I think that this one probably will. I think if you get this, you won't be long before you upgrade to something like this, maybe. So that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure people who have these, I know for a fact people who've got these, do like them, but it's like many things, you don't know what you're missing until you try it. So the choice is yours. Thanks for watching, and join us again soon. Bye for now.